Welcome to the Peer-to-Peer Travel Chats podcast with your host, Josh of the Moonlight Adventures and Mike, the Naughty Cruiser. What is going on, y'all? Josh in the house. Also, let's go this way. My sister from another mister that also has a beard. We have Mike Gormley, the Naughty Cruiser. And down here, we have the man. We blew him up. And you know what? Josh ate it up over to Adventures Ahead. We're like, hey, this dude's an expert in this, and this. And I expected that. So that's kind of why I put it out there. But you know what? Compared to what I do, you are an expert. So I feel like you're a subject matter expert on the things I put in there. That's how I feel. And you know what? I own it, just like I'll own anything that we say or do in this podcast chat.
Let's go. What's going on, everybody? You call this the Mike and Mike show, like Mike and Ike, but we're as fluffy, but we're not as chewy as Mike and Ike's are. But what's going on? How y'all doing tonight?
Man, I am finer than frog hair, split 4 ways. What about you, Lovey?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a Tuesday and a busy last week of the month shipping at my regular work, and I'm ready to get it done and get into another month. So all's good.
Yeah,
good,
always.
Good. And for those of you who are just joining us and y'all don't know, we really don't interact with the chat. We let the moderators do that. So if y'all don't see us responding in the chat, don't get mad. This is getting turned into a podcast. So our goal is to focus on that. And for the first time since we started this, we're streaming on both channels right now. So
exactly.
Hey, double chat.
We are docking, friend. We're docking.
So are we gonna just go right into it, or are we just gonna like be around the bush? Let's talk about this, or what?
I mean, you want to talk about the shirt first? Do we want to go there, or do we want to talk to Lovey first?
I mean,
let's talk to Lovey first. Let's talk to Lovey.
Whatever you want to talk about, we can go.
Let's just let this.
I'm just marinate in all of that shirt.
Just look at the glow. Yeah.
Oh.
Man, that shirt.
So I'll jump in here and start, but just one. So if you watched our live last night, you're well aware that the filter is gone from the Moonlight Adventures. We're not going to come in here with some hardcore foul language, but damn it, there's some things I'm tired of, and I'm going to be me from now on. This is me. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. If you do like it, stay here. And that's how I'm going to do it from now on, because I don't know any other way to be. If you sell with me and Chastity, you know how we get down, and you know what? I'm going to get down that way on the channel. And I'm not going to pull any punches anymore. I feel like we've always been a pretty genuine channel, but I'm ready to become more genuine. So we're either going to go down in a ball of flames, or we're going to sail off like a rocket ship. So we'll see what happens. Either way, I really don't care. It's all fun and games, right? So there's bigger things going on in this world than YouTube every day. And,
absolutely.
You know what? And there's enough YouTube for everyone. But if you have to buy bananas to keep your YouTube channel afloat, shame on you. We'll get into that in a little bit, though. So Mike from Lovey's Fat Life. What does FAT stand for?
Food, alcohol, and travel. No, it doesn't. I've been told that about 100 times now. FAT stands for food, alcohol, and travel. No, it does not stand for that, although I like all three of them. Food and travel. I know it's probably American English-wise, it's probably not the way I should have said it. And in the logo, it's F.A.T. That's not the way it probably should be, but YouTube would not let you put the periods in between, so I had to put the fat all together. That's why on our channel it says Lovey's Fat Life and it's all together. But we're just a travel family. We've done a lot of cruising the last couple of years. Not as many as that Mike, but that's something our family really enjoys to do. So we try to document it along the way. But our channel has evolved from, I think I was talking to you guys about it earlier today, like in 2006 is when we first started. And some people were like, what? They only got so many thousand subscribers and since, the last 17 years, but it started out weightlifting and powerlifting. I used to do competitive powerlifting and competed up and down the East Coast. And then it went into food and barbecue. And then we split the channel off and went ahead and named it Lovey's Fat Life. And doing a lot of Smoky Mountains and traveling. And then, you know, we had a 2-year shutdown on cruising. So we did a lot of Smoky Mountain type stuff. But now we're back to cruising wide open. And I think we're going to, you know, go into some just like 1-day trips in the Carolinas as well. So we're going to look at doing more of that in the future, but just documenting our travels, trying to show something for our son. You know, we adopted our son. We couldn't have kids of our own, and we're older. We were 40 when we adopted him. So we said, you know what? We're getting older. We need to document this stuff. And, you know, when we're dead and gone, he'll have something out there.
That's awesome. You know, and I knew some of that because you've confided in with me. And then when we had you on the channel, I talked about, I really, so, all right, let's try not to get misty eyed here, but, all right, here's the whole shebang for me and Mike Lovelace. You look a lot like my dad. All right. And my dad.
No wonder you're so good looking.
That's right. Well, don't just wait now. So, you know, Anthony's good looking because you adopted him. No, I'm kidding. But so what I'm about to say though is my dad chose to be my dad. The man that I know as my dad chose to be my dad. The man who donated to make me a person was not my dad and will never be my dad. And my father's passed and gone now, and I didn't appreciate how much he meant to me and how much he shaped my life. And I can see what you and Michelle are doing as parents for Anthony.
Yeah.
And it's beyond measure. And as a human being who is now 41 years old and lived the life that Anthony lived. Now we didn't have much, but you know, damn it, I didn't know any different because mom and daddy made sure I had everything that I needed. And, you know, that man, I owe more to him, and I never got a chance really to tell him how much I appreciated it. But I know he's looking down and, you know, probably when I die, he'll have to look way down to see me. But anyway, yeah. So, you know, I just not to get too sappy, but you know, that's a little bit about me that not everybody knows. And I appreciate what you're doing. And I know that, you know, there's going to come days when Anthony's going to rebel because that's a normal part of a young man's life.
We all did that.
But I can tell you that when he looks back and, you know, he's matured a little bit, and not that he doesn't appreciate you now, but I just remember when I was standing over my dad's casket speaking at his funeral, it just, not that I didn't know it, but it just all come crashing down. You know, it's like what this man did for me. And he never wanted me to know that I wasn't his birth son, which is just amazing. So,
wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so I greatly appreciate you. And again, I've never confided in you that you really look a lot like my father. And so when I see you, I get a little, you know, misty eyed, I guess. And so anyway, enough of that.
That's good stuff.
But yeah, that's a great blessing you're providing to your child. And I know you're raising him.
The blessing's all ours. I mean, we started out, you know, fostering. I know this, you know, probably not what the show's about here, but we started out, we wanted to adopt, and we looked at Guatemala, we looked at China, and then we just said, you know what, there's a lot of kids here in the US that need parents. Foster care system gets a bad rap. A lot of times you hear all this stuff about people doing it for money and all that. And then we investigated a little bit more, and we went through the classes, like a 12-week class. You know, it's something you just don't go and sign up and get a kid the next day. And there's some heartaches to it. You know, we were able to get Anthony and his brother, he was 3 years old, and then Anthony was 15 months old when we got him. And we ended up, they told us, don't get touched to Anthony. You can get touched to close to the 3-year-old because you know, his father was not American and they didn't know where he was at. And the next thing you know, we're going to court a year later, and 5 potential relatives that were going to get Anthony, none of them showed up. None of them did what they were supposed to do. They took the 3-year-old and gave him to his father, which was like cutting off an arm. but we were able to adopt Anthony, and he's legally ours. And we told him at the age of 5. I mean, he's kind of matured really early, because he's multi-ethnic, and we're white as snow, especially with my wife. But he's multi-ethnic, so we had to tell him at an early age before he went to school, that he was adopted. So he's took it well, and he's a great kid, smart kid, and we've just tried to teach him right from wrong, teach him about the Lord, and just trying to let him know the right way to do things. And we're more than blessed ourselves, to be honest with you. It's just it's also kind of talking about what you said. I grew up poor, and now we're taking Anthony on cruise ships at 10, 11, 12 years old. Yeah. And we're trying to make him understand, like, when you're in Dominican Republic, or you're in Amber Cove, or you're in, Mahogany Bay, and you see these poor cultures that he's been exposed to seeing, you're like, Anthony, not everybody's got it like you in USA. You got to learn these things at an early age. And when you get older and we're dead and gone, you may not have the money to go cruising. And you may have the money, but we're trying to expose him to a lot while we're still here on this earth. It's not like I'm dying tomorrow, but we're just trying to expose him as much as possible.
So, I mean, you talked about Jesus a little bit. Life is but a vapor, and the problem. So, first off, you said it's not what this show is supposed to be about, whatever. No, it is, Mike, because here's the thing.
This is the side of people that you don't see when they put out YouTube videos. So
that was our thought when we got into this. Joe Rogan Experience, he brings folks in, they just talk.
But it's crazy how you got 3 guys on here that all have adoption stories, right? Like, now, I physically myself wasn't adopted, but when I was a kid, my parents adopted my younger brother. So he's 23 now, but he was technically my nephew. So my older brother had a kid, and my mom and dad ended up adopting him after they were already halfway through raising theirs. But the funny story with him, man, is when the adoption was finalized, he was 5 years old. So we had a dog, a yellow lab at the time, that had papers, and he's like, I'm like, Rocky, I got papers.
That's funny.
So,
that's funny.
But
you'd be shocked at how many stories, though, when you tell this story. Like, we bring it up on our live show ever so often, but there's been a lot of people behind the scenes in the cruising community that have reached out and said, similar story to you, Josh. I was adopted as a kid, and I didn't think my parents loved me, but I had the greatest parents ever, and they wasn't my biological parents, but that I was their child, and they did great. You'd be shocked at how many people come forth and tell that story.
Yeah, it's awesome. And and I'm appreciative of parents that are parenting, because it was kind of evident this week while cruising. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, and I apologize if you're in here and you were born after the year 2000. You're probably not in here because you're watching Twitch or something. But my God, I mean, like, so no common sense. And you know what? I have 2 kids that fall into that category. I mean, my oldest was 99, my youngest 2004. Don't mean to get braggy, but they have some. But that's not the norm for those kids, because unless you put those kids in situations where they have to do some decision making, and you have to give them options and discipline them, they grow up like this bunch that, like, has no ambition, no grounded reality in anything that's going on. They don't know how to socialize, and I can go on and on. But I can see that you're doing a great job with Anthony. He's an excellent young man. The fact that he jumps on lives with you sometimes and he's well spoken, it shows. And the fruit is definitely bearing, and you can see that it's good. So
we appreciate that, because I mean, like I said, we're really blessed. When we got him, he was so far behind. He had to go through behavioral therapy twice a week. He couldn't speak. I mean, and to see how smart he is now, making A's and B's and almost straight A's, it's just amazing. I mean, he really is a good kid, and he's very tenderhearted. You can tell he's a mama's boy, and I grew up a mama's boy. And I love that. I love that. A lot of cruise pictures.
You ain't the only one, bro. You ain't the only one.
A lot of times on the pictures, you'll see him and Michelle together, and me, like, taking the picture or the opposite side. And it's usually because he sits on the same side as his mama. And I like that, though. I love it because I love my wife.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that he loves his mama,
Yep. Yeah. And that's funny, because our oldest, he says I'm his best friend, but like mama's mama, man. Like he is 100% mama's boy, you know. And the oldest the same way. They'll never admit to it, but it's very obvious that mama's the one that holds the keys to their heart. And
That's right.
but that's the way it
Man, but
should be,
see,
right?
that's a different level with me. See, I got no shame telling anybody I'm a mama's boy. Ain't no shame. in
I'm
my
a
game.
mama's boy too. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, man. But you ain't a Marine, Mike. You,
I may not be a Marine, but
Your
hey,
mama's baby all the way.
there you go. See, you hear her over there.
I hear mama back there saying it.
Listen, man, my dad's gonna be 63 years old, and he still calls his mama faithfully every weekend. He just as much a mama's boy as his son is. So
Yep.
it,
It's all
it
good.
ain't never gonna change.
Yeah, amen.
You know.
So, all right, man. So, food and travel, sometimes alcohol. I've not much, but you'll have something every once in a
Well,
while.
it depends, you know. I mean, I did buy the drink package for the upcoming cruise, so there could be a lot of alcohol coming up. I don't know.
Listen, 12 a
But
day.
the
12 a
food
day.
part, man. So, like, for those of you that don't know, and I think I've had you on. This would make the third time if you count this as a
Yeah.
Moonlight Adventures thing, but it's not. It's a collaboration. But had Lovey on to judge my poor man's burn ends, and he
Oh,
taught
yeah.
me something. He taught me something about clean smoke, and that's okay. My barbecuing has gotten better. So, and I actually passed that on to some other people that didn't understand that because,
Yeah,
but
you don't
anyway,
want that dirty smoke. Dirty smoke.
no, you
smoke is
don't
no
want dirty
good.
smoke. You don't want dirty smoke. You want your fire to burn for a little bit and have a almost clear, look
Blue,
through
they
it.
call it a blue smoke.
Blue smoke.
Yep, blue smoke.
So blue smoke. So that's my segue, right? So blue smoke, man. Tell us about your barbecue. Tell us
That's
about your
something I
barbecue
need to
channel.
get back into more. It's been a crazy time because we I think we're working on 3 channels right now. We got Lovey's Fat Life, which I try to put at least 2 videos out a week, and do a live and do a shorts. We've got Carolina Blue Smoke Barbecue and Outdoor Cooking. I've kind of let that one slide a little bit. It's been a few months since I put that, any more content out on that one. That's the channel I pulled off of Lovey's Fat Life. If you go back and look at Lovey's Fat Life, I left all those videos still on there because I'll be honest with you, I had some of the videos, some of my biggest videos are food videos and that have over, I got one that's got over 100,000 views on it, but I wanted to kind of separate it over to the side because I noticed a lot of our food people didn't care about cruising, didn't care about travel. So I started that over. So we started over brand new on another food channel. And then me and Josh, who you was talking about earlier, we started up recently a horror channel called Real Dead. So we got 3 channels we're working on all the time. And we're on Lovey's Fat Life, like I said, 2 videos plus a live. On Real Dead, we're putting out 2 videos a week, plus a live once a month, plus a bunch of shorts. So it's kind of crazy right now, but it's all fun in my part. I mean, if this felt like a job, I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, I'd drop the keys and say I'm done. It's an opportunity for me to let loose of the stress of my job and just like horror talk is it's just fun stuff. Cooking is a stress reliever for me. So when I do cook and cut a video on it, it's enjoyable. It's not really work for me. Watching horror movies is not really a job for me. It's something I do for fun. And the travel part of this now is really the fun part of it too. If any of this felt like work, I wouldn't do it.
Oh, you're muted, Josh.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Now I'm looking like those that vlog all night from the bed. All right. So anyway,
segue into something else.
but man, I tell you what. So I'm a barbecue junkie, and Big Mike over there, obviously he's put away some barbecue in his time.
Boy, let me tell you what. I got the Traeger sitting out on the back patio.
There you go.
Son.
There you go. So my favorite cut of meat right now to smoke is a pork belly. What you guys burning? What y'all like to burn?
If I had to, like, if you said to me, "What are you throwing on the smoker right now?" I'd probably say some ribs, man. I throw down some ribs. Either that or
Wet or
put
dry?
brisket.
Wet or dry? That's important.
Oh, it's always it starts out dry rub. You can put some sauce
Attaboy.
on it if you want, but
Attaboy.
you gotta put that, man. You gotta get that binder on there and put that dry rub on them babies and let them sit. Then you put them on a smoker. But if I had the time, boy, I'd throw a whole pack of brisket up on that bad boy. Cut off the ends, make some burn ends, boy. What, man? That's
So
what you call that, Josh? Fat kid candy. Put a wrapper on it,
Fat
stick it in
kid
your
candy.
pocket.
That's right.
Trailer
That's
park.
right.
That's trailer park happy right there now.
You know what's great about burn ends? You get a you can make them with brisket, or you go and do like I do, and you get the biggest pork belly you can find. And especially when it's just me and Chastity, we can eat on that thing all week. And I'll go in there, I'll open up the refrigerator, pop it open, and eat them cold. I mean, it's just goodness gracious. And this last time we made it, I cut them into small little chunks instead of the big ones. And I didn't put any barbecue sauce on them. I smoked them, cut them into small chunks. We had tacos the first night. Then we came back the next night and we kind of candied them up a little bit and had regular barbecue. But when we did that and made the burn ends like a Mexican style burn in and made it was, man, them pork belly tacos now.
Man, that pork belly sound like it needs a little bit of cowboy candy right on top, make it that perfect little bite.
Oh, bad, man. I'll tell you, put a little habanero. Woo.
You ever had cowboy candy?
I don't know what cowboy.
Learn
us up here.
Cowboy candy is like homemade pickled jalapenos with like this honey sugar sauce.
Okay. Yeah.
So you cut up fresh jalapenos. You get this sauce made up. You let the sauce get hot, and then you pack the jar with the jalapenos.
Yep.
And then you fill it with this sauce and you let it sit. And the jalapenos stay nice and crunchy, but it gets like this sweet heat flavor to it.
Yeah.
Boy, you put some of that on top of them burn-in pork belly, man. That'll make your tongue lick your brain, son.
That's and you gotta have some pickled red onions too.
Yeah.
So Lovey, what's your go-to meat, man?
Man, it depends on time. If it's short and sweet, it's ribs. If I got all night long, it's either pulled pork or brisket. In all honesty, my favorite is a good brisket. I mean, I can fix the problem with
stop it.
The problem with briskets is it's so expensive, and I trim down the fat side down pretty low to about 1/8 of an inch, and I've weighed it before. And you buy a 16-pound brisket, you may cut off 5 pounds of fat.
Yep.
Man, at $6, $7, $8 a pop, you're throwing $40 away. Next thing you know, you paid $100. You paid $120 for a brisket.
For
you're throwing $40. Oh, if you want to throw it away, now don't get me wrong, you can melt it down, put it in a pot, let it cook all night long.
Make some tallow.
And make some tallow out of it. And I'm a big fan of Wagyu tallow. I put that on my briskets on the outside. And then I use some SPG. I really like Killer Hogs SPG, or I'll make my own, which I use a 2-1-1 ratio, 2 parts pepper, 1 part garlic powder, and 1 kosher salt. But for the money, I like Killer Hogs as SPG to use on brisket. It's actually called TX brisket, I think, or TX rub.
Man, I use this stuff called Brisket Magic. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, I like a nice peppery crust on my brisket, which I'd love to get down to. I've not been to, believe it or not, and Texas is one of the places.
Salt Lick.
I want to get to Salt Lick. I want to go down and go to Dallas and Houston and hit some of those places. And
Franklin.
One of our friends we've met in the cruising community, TX Pepito, he talks about Texas all the time and beef, and I'd like to get down there and
it's a different animal, man. I mean, so I think you and I have similar barbecue tastes because we grew up in Appalachia. So Georgia, Coca-Cola based brown sugar, a lot of times wet barbecue, but wet and dry, a lot of pork products. Same kind of thing in North Carolina, right? But your barbecue sauce is a little more vinegar based, which I've grown to enjoy. But yeah, I think our tastes are very similar. You go down to Texas now, and you got a little bit of
all
that
beef.
Tex-Mex going on with it too. Whoo! So my buddy, he came back and brought me the Salt Lick gift box straight from
Yeah.
the Salt Lick. So I had the rub in it, the barbecue. Oh my gosh! And have you ever heard of Blues Hog?
Yeah. Blues Hog. Yeah.
Oh, that Blues Hog blueberry chipotle. Come on now.
Yeah.
Whew.
I tell you another good if you like wet sauce, so you talking about ribs and wanting them dry, but if you like wet, I'm telling you, rib candy is one of my favorites. Rib candy, and they
Yes,
got the
yes.
apple, and they
The
got the apple
apple you
brown
can get
sugar,
on Amazon
but they got
delivered to your house in 24 hours.
they got the
Lord, man.
they got the habanero, which is real good. I think it's called peach habanero or a mango habanero.
Peach. Oh,
Mango
either one. It don't
habanero, I think
matter.
is the name of it.
Golly dog.
And that is some really good stuff to put on ribs. It's also extremely good on burnt ends and pork
50
belly burnt
hours
ends.
without food, guys. 50 hours without food.
So why are we
Yeah.
talking about
So
food?
while we're talking about barbecue, right? For this whole hour and a half, right?
So
50
This-
hours without food.
this is the brisket season I use, if you can see it. It's called Two Gringos
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra Brisket Magic. And then I use their Ribunctious for the ribs, and I use it for my boneless, skinless chicken breast too. Bro, listen. You ever
Wait a
smoked
minute.
boneless, skinless chicken breast?
Wait a minute. Don't normally do this, but I got to do this for Lovey because I always want to see Lovey's face. Look what Shane Nordren just said.
Nobody?
Not a damn soul, Shane.
Nobody?
Not a damn soul is going to enjoy that barbecue. Woo.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
that's a good topic. I mean, it's been said 100 times for me. Every one of our videos, we trash Carnival's barbecue. But I have heard, what is it? Is it NCL or is it Royal? That I've heard. I think I saw Jason from EECC talk about it. Wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
So not to give up too much about what's going to be coming out on our channel, but so MSC on one of the nights, the only night that I ordered 2 entrees, they had what they called Texas style barbecue. Now, it was wet pulled pork, so that's not Texas style, but I was like, I got to try this. They're telling me it was good. It was actually good, but it was only about that much, but it was good. So MSC, I mean, they don't have a barbecue restaurant, but they serve it in the MDR, and it's okay.
So I'll
So
tell
I'm
you
a
this.
big fan of barbecue. If you're talking barbecue, you don't need a wet rub on it. If it's good barbecue, the meat will speak for itself.
Exactly.
And I think that's why Texas overall does really well in the beef part of it and the pork. Anytime I make my barbecue and I pull it, I don't mix the sauce in. It's over to the side. You can dip it in there if you want to, if you're making a sandwich or something. Same thing with a brisket. And it drives me crazy here in North Carolina when I'll go to a barbecue place and I see they have their brisket wet, and I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, what's? But I posted an article on our Lovey's Fat Life, I think today or maybe yesterday, because I know you was from Georgia. But it had the top 3. It had a listing of the top 5 or top 10 barbecue places in the South, and Lexington, North Carolina, the barbecue center, which is where I grew up in Lexington, Thomasville area. It was number 3 on the list. Number 1 was a place in Atlanta, Georgia. I can't remember where number 2 was, but yeah. So it was
Birmingham, Alabama.
Lexington style barbecue was number 3 in the South.
Yeah,
Barbecue ain't none of them come from Florida.
did they call Kansas City the South? I hope not.
No, that's Midwest. I don't count South.
I mean, Kansas City barbecue ain't bad, but that's about as far as it goes for me. I had barbecue. Mike is just chomping at the bit up there. I can see it in his face. He wants to talk. But I went to New York City, to Citi Field, watching the Mets play, and they had a barbecue sampler plate. Let me tell you, Jesus H. Christ, Lord, I apologize. That is Carnival has better barbecue. I should have known better. Should have known better. New York City, it's not a place, but anyway, big man.
NCL's barbecue is not bad.
Okay.
Better than Carnival. But I didn't have a bad experience at Pig and Anchor on the celebration.
So
Now,
I'm going to give it one more shot. One
I
more
was on the
shot I'm going to give it.
transatlantic.
But was it included Pig and Anchor or was it
Oh,
specially?
100% included Pig and Anchor.
But
Now
was
we
it
all
the same-
know. We
This
all
is
know
when you
that-
went to the outside to get it?
No. This was in the brew house.
Okay, okay.
It is included on Celebration.
Normally you have to pay that.
It's what's
pay
not
that.
included. Yeah. And
So-
hang on now. It was the inaugural sailing of the Celebration. Fox
Right.
Brothers. There you go. That was number 2, I bet. Fox Brothers that Meg just put up there. Sorry.
So it was on the transatlantic inaugural sailing. So they might have had, it is what it is, whatever. But you got to remember, I came over from Europe, so things were different. Like the pepperoni was the size of salami. Like we're talking, 3-inch round pepperoni on pizza.
You talking about things that these people do.
Right. But the barbecue itself wasn't bad. It was the first time I can tell you I've went with sailing on Carnival that the beans weren't hard.
Yeah.
That's a
Was
miracle, hallelujah, right there. If the beans weren't hard.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I was, shocked, but I haven't had it. I'm not gonna lie, I did try barbecue option on the Luminosa. I just think they need to put another Guy's Burgers where that's at. That's not worth it.
Oh, hey, man. All right. So we've talked the food. We can come back to it. But I think because I've talked about it so much, and we got a lot more to talk about, obviously. But people came in here to talk about this. So, let's just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag and let's have a little conversation. So I've got something that I want to just put up on the screen just to start talking. So, give me just a half second here. Oh, come on, baby. Get on up here. Let's shrink that down a little bit. That's what she said. Come on. All right, here we go. Downloads. Oh, wrong side.
While you load that up, man, I'm gonna grab a charger for my phone.
Yeah. So don't run off, folks. I'm going to get this right in a second. Okay, so here we go. There are some folks that normally watch us that are not here tonight because I think they knew this was coming. So let me zoom in a little more so the people can see what we're talking about here. And Lovey, you've done this before on your shows, and here you go. So what does this indicate to you, friend?
It looks awful suspicious to me, to be honest with you. Number one, taking away subscribers usually is either the person deleted a video or YouTube realizes something's off and YouTube will delete videos. The one that really blows my mind is it's averaging this is a channel with 1,700 subscribers, it looks like. I don't know. Yeah, the 926. And it looks like they're averaging 200 a week. That's just...
Yeah, I mean,
it looks very, very, very suspicious. You go from 66 views to 2,300 in one day. I mean,
it's bananas.
Yeah, it doesn't look legit. I mean,
what you're not seeing here is in one day or in for this month, their monthly average 837 subscribers.
Even some of the biggest channels out there don't average that.
No, I mean, we're friends with Coach Cruz, and he averages about 150 a month. We hit 122 this month, and we were over the moon with that because and obviously he's not a huge channel, but he's 5,500 subscribers.
He's growing really fast, and I've watched what he does, and and I'm not saying this to blow smoke. I think he's going down. He has his own niche, and it's working well for him. We average about that, anywhere from 175, 200 up to 300 a month. It just depends on what vlog series we put out. But I'm telling you what, when you go down and look at mine says I average 7 a day. So 7 times 30 is 210. That's about right.
Yeah.
When you see channels averaging 28, that's and I may be, I'm one to tell my opinion on things too. This is this is my concern with something like that. I'm not a priest. I'm not a pastor. I'm not to me, if people are buying subs, morale wise, I have a problem with it. But the thing that bothers me more than anything is the new channels that are trying to start and do things right. And then they see this, they're thinking, or they get told to do this. It just is not the right way. It's cheating. You know what I mean? It's
Well, and
that's
don't
just
try
my
to.
personal opinion. And I'm going to be honest with you. I announced this, I think, a week or two ago on our show. Anybody that comes on our show in the future, I'm going to Social Blade. I think that's probably where you pulled this from. And if things don't look right, I'm not inviting you on. I mean, I work too hard. And I said I'm doing this as a creative thing and outlet, but I know how much time goes into my videos. I know how much time goes into things, and I'm not going to let somebody come on our show that I think's buying things.
It's not even just time that goes into it, right? Like YouTube is a creator space, right? Like this is where you have your creative outlet. You pay a ton of money to go on these cruises. You pay a ton of money for editing equipment, a ton of money for filming equipment, and then you put a lot of time and dedication into something that you're making nothing on. You're getting literally nothing to upload until you get 4,000 watch hours, 1,000 subscribers, and then you start making pennies and pennies and pennies until eventually you get bigger, right? And then the ultimate goal is to be able to pay for a couple of cruises a year, whatever it may be. But when you have these channels that are like here on the screen, 60,000 views, but at 2,300 subs, like your view should be 10 times higher than that. There's no way that you're only averaging 100 and some views, 18 views, 75. It's just not. It's the math is not there.
Exactly.
And for
There's
people,
there's no way possible. Looking at this one right here, because this is a different one. I just noticed that. Duh. There's no way you're going to get 110 subscribers in one day and only have 161 views. It's not possible.
Right?
The math don't add up.
There's no way that can happen. There's no.
And if you look, if you huddle around the screen, you'll see some of these folks that before the live starts, they'll have 100 likes. The live starts and they'll have 10 people in the chat.
It's insane.
Huddle around that and take a look. So yeah, but yeah, this one chaps my rear end. This one right here.
Well,
here's the reason.
I'll give you a good example, and this is not flexing. This is not saying anything bad. Early on our channel, when I say early on, probably a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, we had at the time Tony and Jenny was not enormous. I don't even think they'd hit 100,000 at the time. They were probably 50 to 75,000 subscribers. They came on our live show one night, and we had a bump that night. It wasn't 110 subscribers in one night. I'll tell you that right now. And at the time, they were growing really quick. So everybody's going to get a rub if you have a big channel that helps you out and, maybe calls your name out or your channel, or they have a live and they shout you out. That's what we call, some of us call it a rub. And there's nothing wrong with getting a rub, but there's, in my opinion, something wrong with buying subscribers. It makes the channels that are trying to do it the right way feel insignificant and feel like they're maybe not doing something right, when in reality they are doing it right. And nowadays, the big thing going on, because other people say, well, did you buy subscribers? And they say no, is people gift other people subscribers. They'll pay for the subscribers and gift them to people. And the people that got them can say, well, no, I didn't buy subscribers. No, they didn't, because XYZ gave them 1,000 and dropped it in at 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, 100 here for a month, over a month or two's time. And I just don't have time for that anymore. I mean,
No.
Now I have heard some bigger channels even come to my comments on YouTube and Facebook and say, why don't waste your time with that stuff? And why did you let it bother you or something like that? It's not that it bothers me so much, because I know I'm legit. I feel for some of I've always been one to take up or
these people right here. These people
Yeah.
right here, damn it.
Somebody like Kurt
They deserve
Marshall
to be
doing
at
it right.
1,000. If you haven't subscribed to them tonight. As entertaining as any of us up here right now.
Yep.
Busts their ass, gets in there every morning and does their live show, has 30 people in the live. And you got people like the Joker I just showed a minute ago that's out there buying subs. No. Hashtag KMA, friend. And right here, this dude, whoever he is, handsome friend sooner, JH Travels, she have 1,130 bananas. I saw it tonight firsthand. 1,130 bananas gifted to this jackwagon.
So that's a good example of, if you saw it somewhere, I guess you pulled it from there, but that's a good example where somebody's gifting somebody subs. And I just feel, and I know people in the cruising community that had them gifted to them and they didn't want them and they felt bad about it. And then they felt dirty. They felt like
they felt like they were tainted.
They felt like their channel was
tainted. And their channel was tainted. And then everything that they've been trying to do organically has been ruined because of other people wanting to gift things. Listen, again, like Mike said, I have no problem. You want to go out and buy subscribers? Go out and buy as many subscribers as you want. I don't care because at the end of the day, I know I'm legit. I know I'm doing it right. But stop doing it and hurting and damaging the smaller channels by trying to poison their water well. Because that's all you're doing. Exactly. You're really poisoning the water well for people that are trying to grow organically, putting in the time, putting in the work, putting in the effort, putting in the hours of editing, putting in the hours of trying to get monetized and just fight for the littlest things. Do you know how hard it is to not have to literally sit down at a computer, edit a vlog, and find a song that you think is free and able to use in your video, and then you upload it and it takes 6 hours and then you get a check mark and you got to do it all over again. It's a lot of time and dedication going into everything. And then you have jokers like you're showing on the screen who are just like, well, I don't care. Let me just do this and do that, and I'll be at 2,000 subscribers with 5 views, and YouTube's going to pay me millions of dollars. It doesn't work that way.
Let me tell the people a little secret. If you want to find out who these people are, there's a channel called Nets B Vlog 21. Go on over there and take a look. You'll see who's in the chat, and you'll see who's buying subs. And sometimes you'll be in people's live streams, and they'll pop in there. Hint, hint.
Wow. I'm kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked at how bold people are getting about it. I mean, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So,
what happened to
they want to say bananas,
on the down low, right?
They say bananas. Look, I'm not going to, I talked to you guys about this before. I've got about a month of this that I'm going to do, and I'm never going to talk about it again. Because guess what? I'm carrying it on the booze cruise. So some of y'all people may not want to come on the booze cruise if you don't want to hear about it. Because look, I ain't going to act like this stuff don't exist anymore. And it ticks me the heck off that there's people out there that deserve the subs because they work for it. And you look at the views, and the views are well above what their subscriber count is. I mean, like, you looked at that last Joker that had 60,000 views and 2,300 subscribers. He is on a pace, if he continues to buy bananas, to pass Greg and Felicia. And he monetized around the same time, he or she monetized around the same time that both Mike and I did. I don't care that the man passed me if his content's there and his views are there. We just hit 620,000 views. I don't know how many Mike has, but it's got to be close to that.
I'm not even nowhere near that.
Lovey hit, what was it, 1.2 million before we came into this? Something like that?
Yeah, and sometimes it takes one, like you can get a short that does really well, and it may carry you over. I mean, there's some channels out there, even in the cruising community, that have hit on shorts and really do well. Let me kind of go back and tell you another little secret here that happened many years ago. So just in case people watch this on a replay, is back when I was about to get 1,000 subscribers, or actually I may have just hit 1,000 subscribers. And this is 4 or 5 years ago. This was probably 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. I had a group of people still in the cruising community now. I've cruised with some of these people before, and I like them. They're good people.
Yep.
But they tried to get me to join a group. It came through Facebook Messenger, and they wanted us to watch each other's videos and do a loop and keep your volume down low on your laptop and put a loop in there and watch it so you can get your watch hours up. And I was blown away when they asked me to that, because they invited me to the group. And when I went in the group, I saw who all it was. And some of these people I really respected. And I was like, I can't believe that. And I told them, I said, nah, I don't need that, because at the time I already had one video that was doing really well. And I knew I was already over on the watch hours. I was like, I don't need to do this. And I just left it. But ever since then, it's kind of always been in the back of my mind. You know, are people legit or not? And I'm going to throw this out. I'm going to throw this out there as well. How long has this been going on? I mean, this could have started. You look at some of these channels now that have 60, 70, 100,000 subscribers, and some of their views aren't that good either. I mean, maybe they were on the early end of this. If they know who they are, they know who they are.
You talking about Pal?
Huh?
Anyway,
Pal Panera was probably one of those. I mean, it's just
either way.
I don't know.
Listen, if we go back to what we were saying about the views and the subscriber count and how it's not there, like you're talking about the subscriber count, right? The last one you showed, 2,300 subscribers, 60,000 views. You look at Kurt and Marsha with See Me Traveling, you're talking 918 subscriber, well over 200,000 views at 918 subscribers. Okay. So the math isn't mathing. It's not matching up. It's not going to match up, and it's never going to match up because this is the way they're doing it, right? So if you're in the space, do it organically, because I'm telling you now, the sense of accomplishment you feel when you achieve that 4,000 watch hours or you get that 1,000 subscribers is well worth it, and it feels so much better than buying some subscribers.
This is what right looks like, people. This is what right looks like right there. That's what it's supposed to look like. That is real natural growth right there.
Yeah, and what you can see of that is the daily average and the 6 here, the 1 here, the 2. Like you look at my page and it's like 10, nothing, then 10. And you see where the average is like 7 a day. I mean, that's natural. And you take somebody like See Me Traveling, they do a daily show. So, I mean, you know, that's why you see something every day on there.
Right. And then you see like that 2,371 view. That was a short.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and that's another thing I do want to say. There are channels that do nothing but shorts, and I get that. And I have no problem. You can really make your subscriber count go way up really quick with shorts. And I'll be honest with you, I've done it. I put some shorts out when I was trying to hit that 5,000 mark, and I noticed my numbers went really far up. The thing you have to look at as a creator, though, is do your shorts relate to your long-term view?
Exactly.
And they're on YouTube Studio. You can look at your analytics, and it'll tell you what percentage watch your shorts only, and what percentage watch your long form, and then what percentage watch both of them. And luckily for our channel, the shorts and the longs comes up to about 85 to 90%. So about 10% we're watching shorts only, but you got some channels at 75, 80% shorts, and that's fine if that's what your channel is about. Yep. But the buying of subs and views now, people buy views
and comments, Lovey.
Yeah.
Positive comments cost you more.
Yeah.
Remember that. We saw that also, right?
The reason I try to bring awareness to it is because I have some good friends in the travel community. One channel I'll call out, for example, is KY Travelers. They're not at 1,000 yet either. They're close, but Brenda and Tom, when I first brought it up on one of our live shows, the very first one we did, they contacted me behind the scenes, and I saw it in the chat too. They were like, I never knew this happened. I never knew this existed. And there's people that's naive in a good way that they just don't know. They just take it when they see a channel that's got 20,000 subscribers that, hey, they're doing it the right way. When hell no, they're not.
Listen, now I know all of us sitting here tonight have received emails, right? Like, oh, your SEO numbers aren't where they should be. I'm an SEO specialist. Let me do this for you. That's where it all starts.
Yeah.
Like, that's honestly where it all starts. So if you're responding to these emails or you're interacting, like, you're already there.
This reminds me of powerlifting back in the day. When I was powerlifting, I got to a certain level, I lifted an AAU. And then, I knew I got to the point where I could go no further. And then I had buddies of mine that were saying, you know what, if you take this shot every so often, Mike, man, you end up telling what you do next. And you have to make a conscious decision. Are you going to stay drug-free and do it the right way? Or are you going to take it steroids testosterone and do it the wrong way. I chose to stop and just quit doing it altogether because I didn't want to go down that route. It's the same way. It's an ego thing. It's a pride thing. People want to get bigger and better, and they want to be relevant, and they feel like by doing this, it's going to make them relevant. And in reality, a lot of people nowadays know about it, and they're just kind of laughing at them, to be honest with you.
So I'm going to say a couple more things here, and we'll get off this topic. But and let me know, Lovey, if we're pushing on time. We don't care about time on here.
No, I'm good, man. We're good.
So here's the thing, and Controversial Cruising just said it. It's fool's gold. It's fool's gold because it gives you a false sense that you're actually doing something. I think, and here's another thing. I think there are people in the cruise community that have cheerleaders, like a spouse or a family member that knows you can do this kind of thing, and they think they're helping. Because there are some people that you're like, hey man, bananas, and they're like, huh? But you can tell when you look at Social Blade. I also know that there was, like you had this experience. When we first got started and we were hanging around 200 subscribers, someone sent us an email and said, hey, we want to promote your channel. These are people that are in the cruise community. People know. People we consider friends still to this day. But I was like, sure, go ahead. 150 subs overnight. And then, of course, some of them dropped off and some of them stayed. And until I watched, so we saw that, and then we lost some of them. And when you did your show that night, you had Mike from Beach Please, and I think you had, did you have TX on? I can't remember who you had on, but when you had that, I was like, man, I hope they're not talking about our channel, because it was around that time period. And I'm like, we did not do this. It just happened to us. And we have since sent emails to some people and said, we don't want your help. Please don't help.
But see, I think it's great that you're bringing this up because people need to hear this, because there's other people that I know that have contacted me and said, hey, I had 100 subscribers come out of nowhere and I didn't put anything out. And I felt bad for them. I mean, I really genuinely felt tearful for them because I know they took it to heart. And I was like, I don't want people to thinking I'm doing, and
and as a new sub, right? I mean, as a new channel, and then, so it hurts, right? And then, yeah, Meg says it happened to her, made me feel gross. It does. And you also get to a point where you're like, we're trying to do these things on the up and up. Maybe one day we break through and we actually become a Lolita Loca. If not, I don't care. This is fun. This is an outlet. It's a hobby. But if it happens, great. If it don't, I'm still going to be fine doing what I'm doing here. And Chastity and I are going to enjoy it. Right. But it's just, I don't want our good name associated with that kind of crap.
Bam.
Let me ask you both a question. And this is a question I've kind of thought about often. And me and my wife talk about this every so often. And I've talked with some other people in the cruising community about this. Do you think, as a couple on some of these other channels, that one of the two is naive to what's really going on, and they think they're really? I think that's really what's 100%. Happening, because I think one of the two thinks, oh, we're doing great, and they don't know the other one's the one back there buying subs or something.
Not only do I think that happens on a channel when you have spouses or people doing it together, I think some of the channels that are actually growing that way themselves are naive. They don't know any better because they had nobody there to tell them what it was all about, right? So they might just be like, in the beginning, like Josh said, oh yeah, sure, you can promote my channel. Boom, 150 overnight.
Thank you so much. Promote me. Yes, I want that. And you know no better.
And you know no better at that point in time. So,
well, you don't know the lingo either. Because if somebody would have told me, hey, do you mind me promoting you? I'd have thought, yeah, you're going to put a link to my thing on your live or your or your Facebook page or something. I would have known that was code for I'm going to buy you subs. I would have known.
And it's bananas when it happens.
Yep.
Well, I didn't know what bananas meant. I had to ask you guys what that meant. I had no clue what bananas meant.
Hey, I'm not going to say who told me, but they're in the chat. Thank you for alerting me to that, because it's been fantastic.
And we got the factual proof that shows us that the code word for this is bananas.
Yes, and that's bananas.
That's the part, like that's where it's so crazy, because at the end of the day, when you sit down, you break it down, you logically think about it. Like, why would somebody do that? You're like, what the hell? It's bananas.
Look, are those channels going to continue to thrive? I mean, not that they're thriving now, but it's what some don't understand is you have to maintain that 4,000 viewing hours as
Every
you
year.
go. You
Every
can't just
single
hit
year.
4,000 and then I'm done. No, you better maintain it. So if you think that your After Dark live laying in the bed is going to do it, it ain't going to happen. You're done.
Listen,
So
can we talk about that for a second? Like, honestly, what makes you think going live from laying in your bed is going to do you any good? Like, I get it, right? Let's be genuine. Let's be ourselves. Let's be whatever. Bro, but at least sit up. Like, usually I have the green screen on behind me. Y'all are just staring at my blurred out wall tonight because I worked today. I got home late last night. I was tired. And frankly, this is going to be a podcast. So when it's turned into a podcast, you can't see what's behind me. But what makes it, like, before we even went live, I had to change my shirt. Like, I'm not going to go live from my bed. I'm not going to go live laying on my couch. The most you'll see me live in any form of relaxation is when I'm on a cruise ship or I'm in the pool, the hot tub, chilling in the room, sitting on the patio, the balcony, something like that. I damn sure am not going to push the go live button while I'm laying in bed.
So these people, because I have heard it, and we have
Now,
some
I've never
friends
seen
that
it.
we
I'm just
talk
curious.
behind the scenes that have heard it. So here's a couple things. One, these folks believe that if they all go live together and there are 2 or 3 viewers that are in there, which it's all of them that are watching each other from their beds, that they're somehow getting their watch hours. And they'll go live for, I mean, we have never went live for 2 hours until last night. And we were just on a roll. I apologize to have Luggage Will Travel that we stepped on y'all a little bit because we love y'all. And I know we share some followers. That's why we're moving to Tuesday. But
I
the
love
other
y'all
thing
too, but I
is,
wasn't watching no 2-hour replay today, so I skipped
hey
to the
man,
end.
you missed out, bro.
But
Like,
it's on. It's in the list to get.
I went
watched.
to the last. I went to the last 10 minutes, and when Josh said something about Chastity going shirtless into bed, I was like,
I got pissed.
I can't believe he said that.
I
But
was
I had to
so
stay the
mad
whole
when
10
it
minutes. I
ended,
didn't think it
and
was really
didn't
going to happen, but I had to stay.
I got
oh
pissed
man, Chastity was
so
like, I can't believe you
I
said
bet
so.
she
She's
knocked
like,
the
I
hell out
knew.
of you in your arm at some point.
We talked about what we were going to talk about before we got in there, but Chastity's like, I had no idea how far you were going to take it. And I'm like, well, are you good? And she's like, no, I loved it. That was the most fun we've ever had on live ever.
last 10
So-
minutes. I get to that, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna get the X-rated version of the Moonlight Adventures, and then he says bye and ends the show. I'm like, yo, what the? Bro, he just told us he was taking a
What would
shirt
have
off.
been great is
now.
if it went to a black screen and you still heard him talking like, can you help me take this off or something like that?
Now you're giving me some ideas.
Now we're giving him ideas for next week.
All right, so I'll finish what I'm saying here, and we'll back out of this and talk about some more fun things. But one thing I've heard also, besides from them all going live together, now Honest Engine, right? So we're doing a live together thing here, but it's only fair to the big man in the upper right hand corner that he gets his views and he gets subs, and we get to feed off each other. But look, do we have 4 people viewing? No, we've got 30. And when we get done and we do the replay, 200 people are going to watch the replay. Go and look at some of those other folks. And that's not braggy, because guess what? Lolita Loca, he'll have 1,000 people view during the live and 20,000 will come back and view. So it's not a bragging thing. It's
but
just a reality thing with the
is
numbers,
with
right?
The Lolita Loca, you know what the thing is there? It was done organically.
You're exactly right, my
So
friend.
he deserves that 1,000 people in that live.
And why does he get it, Mike? Why does he get it?
Because he
ain't
shows
fake.
up.
He's
and
organic.
Not fake, and he's genuine. He's organic. He does what he's supposed to do, and he does it faithfully every day.
Exactly.
So that man
People trust
deserves
him.
every single person watching his shows every second of the day. I don't care if it comes out at midnight. I am literally getting on my phone and I'm supporting Tony, because that man has been nothing but an inspiration to me from the beginning of time with me starting my channel. And it's been nothing but organic, natural growth and dedication, and what shows you what genuine of a person that him and Jenny are, and how hard working they absolutely are for their community. So yeah,
Amen.
They deserve every single view they get.
And it's the same thing with Lovey. So Lovey and SCT, I said this last night about Greg. I mean, we had like 50 subscribers, man, and he brought us on, And Lovey, I think you brought us on when we were at 300 or 400 or something like that.
But that's like, y'all look at me. Y'all brought me on when I was less than 6.
Yeah, and you got to 605 after that. So I mean,
listen, it was 5. 5's better than 0, right? And listen, man.
and those 5 were from like my extra channels. I just went, no, I'm kidding, man.
Hey, I don't care. It is what it is.
But no,
Yeah,
I mean, you've earned it. I mean, you look at your vlogs, you look at Lovey's vlogs, you've earned it. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna say this because I don't want to seem petty. Here's the thing: if you're doing it, own it. If you don't try to convince people that you're not, you don't
Yeah,
have to come
tell
out
me-
and say it.
Don't sit
But
here and
own
tell
it.
me you're networking with people and that's
Yeah,
you
don't tell me.
networking with
Don't
nobody.
tell me you know how to network and you know 4 languages. Now kiss my ass, guy. That ain't got nothing to do with it.
I would love to see a channel come out and just say, "Hey, I got caught up in it and I did it." I mean, I would have a total respect for that. If you ever want to hit me up on Messenger, I'll bring you on our show live and you can do it. But
The respect level will go from here to here.
Yeah.
Because
I
that's
mean,
the thing, right? That's
that's-
what everybody wants. Everybody
look,
wants trust and all that.
I
Own
called
it.
somebody out. I called somebody out today in a group chat that I somehow wound up in. And that person said, "Look, I know what's going on. They were gifted to me. I didn't buy them. I'm not even monetized. Props to that person
right.
for
Props
being
for
that
owning
honest."
it.
Yeah.
Props for owning it.
But
100%.
guess what? If you're going to act phony, I'm not going to act like I don't know. Sorry. You done. But I'm not going to visit it anymore.
You're done.
After the booze cruise, I'm done. But guess what? We see you, we know, and we're done with you. And if you wonder why I'm sound cruel and I'm not inviting you onto our channel to do things, I don't want to associate with you, friend. That's enough. Okay.
Damn,
All right, well,
man.
hold on. I need to say my
Let's
final
go.
piece. You're saying
Go
your
ahead.
final
Go
piece,
ahead,
right?
Mike. Go ahead,
Here's
man.
my thing, right?
Go ahead.
Listen, some people hate people because they just hate people.
Yep. Amen.
I don't choose to hate people. I choose to love people. I love you where you're at. It doesn't matter where you're at, right? So this is going to be genuine, straight from the heart. I don't look at you any different. I don't consider you friend, foe, whatever it may be. But I'm telling you now, it's not right. It's just not right. Like the way you're going about it isn't right. I don't look at you any different as a human being. If I see you, I'll shake your hand. I'll have a conversation with you. It is what it is. But just know that the respect level from a creator standpoint, it's not there because of the way you're going about the thing.
Let's also real quick, just let's kind of level set things. And when I say this, I'm not trying to put people down. The cruising or travel niche, especially cruising, is a very small niche. And when I say this again, I'm not saying this to hurt anybody's feelings or talk bad about anybody, but you can take a channel that's got 200,000 subscribers or even 400,000 subscribers that some of them in the cruising community have, or whatever, 225. They walk down the road, nobody's going to recognize them. Unless you're in that cruising community, you're not going to recognize them. You don't know who they are. You take somebody brand new channel coming out that's got 100 subscribers or 50 or 25, whatever. You're not going to know who they are. But this is the thing about it. It's not like you're a rock star. I mean, what are we trying? What are channels trying to do? This is such a. It's not like Mr. Beast or anything. And now, Don't get me wrong. You can get there, but don't. What is it? What are you really doing by buying these subscribers and stuff? It's fool's gold, as somebody mentioned earlier. In my situation, I've mentioned this before. I have like a 10-year plan. Eventually, my channel is going to be turned over to Anthony.
Yeah.
And if he wants to do it, he can do with it what he wants. If not, it'll just fizzle out. But I don't want to give him something that I knew I bought something for and I didn't work for. I'm trying to lay the foundation for him that he can do, just like Sharon at Seas and Matthew with the whole tacos or pizza thing. Anthony, you can do the taco thing when you're a cute kid, you get a little older. If you want to run with it, do what you want to do. Do whatever you want to do. Tell people how you love blue iguana and you eat there every day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say, Anthony, I bought 3,000 subscribers to get you where you're at. I mean, I want him to know everything I did was real.
Amen.
But this
blood, sweat, and tears went into every single thing.
This is the
sweat
thing.
equity.
I don't care if you got 25 subscribers or you got 200,000 subscribers. I'm going to treat you the same. I'm not going to kiss your ass if you got 200 or 400,000 subscribers. I'm not going to kiss your ass if you got 25 subscribers. I don't want nobody kissing my ass. We're all in here having this for fun. This is fun for me.
Yeah.
Now, when people get into the business part of it and they're like, don't do this because it's going to mess my business part up, then maybe I have to tone it back a little bit. And if somebody's calling me out on that, I need to talk to them about it. I may agree with them, I may not, but I'm not doing this to make a fortune. I don't,
I'm not in a war zone, guys. If you're hearing that, I live near Langley, and like they've just done something. They're doing some kind of exercise, so I keep muting. But yeah, and so another one of our channels we're friends with, Funnelheads. Rhett is the most amazing dude for his age. Like he blows me away. Right? He's got a personality. He wants to be a cruise director when he grows up. And the same thing with them that they've said, like, we're turning this over to Rhett. We're building a foundation for Rhett. And that's cool. That's really cool. And I like that. And Chastity and I mean, our kids, I don't think they have any interest at all. I mean, I don't want to say any at all, but Dylan comes on the World Wrestling Vlog, most of the time. He enjoys doing it. Dustin loves watching us, but I don't think they have any interest, at least right now, in doing any kind of creator stuff. But it's there. And let's say one of us three gets to a Mr. Beast level. Would that not be something great to turn over to your kids as something lasting? Not just the memories, but also the money that can be perpetually made off of that. Because let me tell you something. Digital currency is the way of the future. This is digital currency. This is digital currency in a different format than crypto, obviously, but it's digital currency. And, by the time we're on our deathbeds, this is going to be money, essentially. I mean, I think
I told you guys today, and this wasn't what we started until we got monetized and then saw a little bit of money coming in. My wife didn't see it at all. She was like, why are you killing yourself doing this? I said, well, honey, it's an outlet for me, or blah, blah, blah. My whole goal is I'm 52 years old. I'd love to retire when I'm 62, earlier if I could. And I said it today in a group with some other friends. I said, if I could get to the point in 10 years where I'm paying for 2 to 4 cruises a year and be retired, and what little bit of videos I do helps provide enough information to people, they still want to watch it, and I get a little money to help pay towards a cruise, then hey, that's free. That's free money for me. I mean, it's not really free because I'm investing time back in it, but it's not money out of my pocket.
Yeah, you're putting the sweat in. But it's like, again, it's really cool because at least for us, and the small amount of money we make off this, it is enough where it pays for a large amount of a single cruise booking a year.
Yeah.
So, and that's worth it. That's worth it to me.
And I will tell you this too. You looked at Social Blade earlier.
Yeah.
Don't always think Social Blade's right on the amount of money it says.
Oh, I know.
If you go in there and it says Lovey's Fat Life is making $100,000 a year, come on now, it's $250 at least, right?
I know. Social Blade also gives you false hope, and it's like, if you stay in this for 5 years, you'll be making $100,000 a year.
Oh yeah, those projections on there. I'm like, how can it? You're telling me in a year from now I'm going to go from 6,000 to 12,000 subscribers, but yeah, I'm only averaging about 2,000 a year. How's that math work?
Well, what they want you to do is they want you to do their Social Blade management program so you can get there.
Yeah, figure it all out.
Yeah. So anyway, the subs thing going that turned into a great conversation there at the end. I'm glad that went that way. So yeah. All right. So next thing, Lovey, your wife, she also puts in a little time on the channel. There's been a mud.
I wish you'd put a little more time in.
Her murder segments are great. So, talk a little bit about Michelle and her murder section.
She's only done 2 or 3 of those. But I hear more people ask me, when are you going? I put a thing out the other day about, do we need to do more like one-day travel vlogs? And behind the scenes, I had 2 or 3 people message me and said, Michelle needs to do more murder mystery vlogs. So this is something we've done 2 or 3 times. It takes a lot of work for my wife to research it because my wife is big into the like murder mystery type stuff and all the podcasts with murder mysteries. But what she did is we looked at the Carnival Sunshine. We looked at an NCL ship, and there's one other one. that we looked at, and she looked up mysteries that people had died on the ship, and
Yeah.
the cases had not been solved. They'd done pretty well, and in fact, I just got the other last week. She did one last year where a lady that was really big into the God, was it Tiffany? Maybe Tiffany. And I think she was from Israel. She died on a cruise ship, and it was a big murder mystery. And her fiance was, they was thinking he did it. And one of the crew members on that ship saw our video and put a comment on the video and said,
Saw that.
"Me
I
and
saw
two
that.
other crew members are the ones that found the purse and turned it in."
That's awesome.
So I
That's
need to go back and
amazing.
reply to him and say, "Hey, you want to come on our show? We'll talk about it more." But
Yeah.
Michelle puts a lot of, on the video she does, she probably puts 6 to 8 hours of research in on it because she wants to make sure it's real and true and it's factual. But she does do a good job doing that.
Fantastic job.
And how we found out about that was we were on a tender boat at Half Moon Key, and a person in front of us, a young person in their mid-20s, said, "Yeah, we research every cruise ship we're going on to see how many deaths have been on that ship." And I was like, "Man, that's awful morbid, but it's kind of cool." So then on our way back home, driving home from Charleston to Winston-Salem, which is about a 4.5-hour drive, I brought it up to my wife, and I was like, "What if we did like a murder mystery?" Because she loves murder mysteries. So I said, "What if we did a murder mystery thing on a cruise ship? You can research, find out some of these cases, and then you do like your own segment on it." And it's went well. It's just a time thing right now where she's, being a mother and school started back and all that and working full time. It's hard to get the time to do it, but I do hope she can eventually find time to do more of it. And that's another project behind the scenes I think I've told you about, Josh, was we wanted to do some live shows and kind of do a murder mystery, kind of like a Clue whodunit. And I've been working on a game that you can play on a live show where Josh murdered so-and-so with a guy's burger in the library or something,
Yeah.
and
That'd
have
be
some
awesome.
people on the
Yeah.
live show and play a game where you're trying to guess who done it.
Yeah.
But
Who killed the
I got-
banana man?
He killed someone
Josh
with a
killed somebody
banana.
with a banana in the library.
Josh
Hey,
shoved
so
a
do you
banana
know the code word that they will announce over the intercom if someone dies on the ship?
I don't, but my wife probably does.
So we met Bruce Pobance, the hangman, on the MSC cruise this time, and Kurt and Marcia had told me about him. Said, "Hey, you got to meet this guy." We finally met him, and hopefully we're going to get an interview with him. He said he would, but it's going to be cool because he's the hangman. He was a wrestler in the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up to 2006. Wrestled Mid-South, NWA, some WWE. He was trained by Handsome Jimmy Valiant.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
dude has
I
stories.
met him last December. He was
Yeah.
saying he was walking around.
What's his
saying,
name again?
Bruce Pobance, Pobanz.
I know if I saw him, I'd probably know him because I was into the old school wrestling stuff.
So you would, if you look him up, you'll know exactly who he is. But he doesn't look like that now because he's got some pretty terminal things going on. But he lost his wife, who he was deeply in love with, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to sell instead of paying for hospice. I'm going to sell until the day I pass." And that's what he's doing. And we're sitting there talking to him on this last cruise. We told him it's our 24th anniversary, and he started getting misty-eyed talking about his wife. He's like, "Can I please take some pictures of y'all? It just makes my
That's
heart feel
awesome.
good." But anyway, he said if we're on this cruise and you don't see me around, he's like, and you hear Operation Rising Star.
Rising Star.
He's like, that's probably me.
Wow.
So I did not know that. So code
But
name
yeah,
Rising
I mean,
Star.
I know it sounds a little morbid, but I've always wanted on a cruise ship to go check out the medical area and the morgue.
Yeah.
I know that sounds horrible. And I bet you if they did a paid, and Carnival will be the one to do it because they're always trying to nickel and dime you to death.
Nope.
If you ever
they
come
won't
up
do
with a tour of that area, as long as there wasn't a body in there, man, sign
Yeah.
me up. I'm down there.
Oh yeah.
They won't do it, bro. I tried in April.
Yeah.
I want to go see a body. I want to go see the body.
I did the behind the scenes tour in April, and I said to the guy, I was like, "Yo, I'll slip you an extra $100 bill if you get me into the brig and the morgue."
So
I was
what
like,
was that?
I really don't care about everything else. Like, I just want to go see the brig and the morgue. And he was like, "Yeah, man, we can't do that."
So what was that movie that was like, "Hey guys, you want to see a dead body?" I can't remember what that was. Yeah, maybe you could slip them some money. Hey, you want to see a dead body?
That's the one where they go by the train tracks, right?
Yeah, I can't remember what it is
I
though.
can't remember the name of the movie, but I know
Yeah,
what
you
you're
wanna
talking
see a
about.
dead body? But hey, man, so I don't want to go too long. I know you got to get Anthony into bed. We all have day jobs.
Oh, Anthony was already in bed at 9 o'clock, man. I'm good. I mean, whenever y'all guys want to end it, we can end it. But
Stand by me. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just if we're good, we'll go till we run out of steam. But I also don't want our folks
cool.
that are watching to run out of steam either. So you know what? I'll turn it over to you, Lovey, and if you want to give us any parting shots about what's coming up on your channel, about your feelings, whatever it is, man. Like this is your chance. And here's the other thing too. We definitely didn't even scratch the surface on what we need to talk about. So
Yeah.
I mean, everything we could talk about with you, and
I'll be on here.
I wasn't blowing smoke about you being like, I really do feel like, you got some good insights, some unique insights. And, how do you feel about that, Mr. Gormley? I think we need to
Oh yeah,
definitely need to have Lovey back
back on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome. That'd be
As
awesome.
long as he's willing to come back on. I mean, after this show, he might be like, I don't want to be associated with those guys.
I might just eat some barbecue with you guys. Like I pull over here and just pull up a big, start eating it. Like
There you go.
big old
There you
dino
go.
rib.
You know what?
We could
meet.
in their beds, right? We can eat barbecue live, right?
Let's go.
We could meet at the Smithfield barbecue now. I mean, we could do that. I don't know how you feel about Smithfields up there in North Carolina.
Smithfield's, Virginia. I do buy their meat.
No, not Smithfield. Not Smithfield Meats. The barbecue joint, the barbecue and chicken joint. Smithfield.
I never ate at those. Those are
really.
Yeah, they're more on the east, towards the eastern side of the coast here in North Carolina. I mean, I think there's, I've never.
That's my guilty pleasure, man. That's one of my guilty pleasures.
I heard it's not too bad.
They have great fried chicken, and the barbecue is, it's good, not great, it's good, but yeah, I mean they have some really good, what they call Brunswick stew, but for a Georgia boy, it's not Brunswick stew. It's more like burgoo, but it's good. I enjoy it.
North Carolina, we probably should have said this earlier. North Carolina is divided in Raleigh.
Yeah.
You got east of Raleigh is the vinegar, light ketchup, heavy vinegar in the meat. And they do whole hogs. Don't get me wrong. I love that part. I have a lot of family that lives on that side of the state. West of Raleigh is what you call Piedmont Triad, or further west is Western barbecue, which is more of Boston butts and shoulders and a little bit heavier ketchup taste to it with still a little vinegar. Yeah. But in North Carolina, you argue about four things usually. It's barbecue, the Bible, and basketball. And there was another B in there. I can't remember what it is, but I remember.
There ain't no F in there because y'all ain't got no good football.
Hey, y'all guys barely beat South Carolina, and we wore South Carolina out.
Yeah, well, we'll see if North Carolina anything. Will North Carolina make it into the playoff.
No, I don't think they will. They'll lose to Clemson at Clemson.
Think so? Or y'all are still undefeated though.
Yeah, that don't mean nothing.
Man, come on now. Y'all can beat Clemson.
I don't know. Clemson
got a good quarterback. Y'all got a good quarterback, man.
We do have a good quarterback. The defense is just not very good.
And Mike has no idea what we're talking about because he's a Philly boy, and we all know that up north they ain't got no good football except for NFL. So,
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, I know you don't know anything about college football.
I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, I gotta go with the Spartans, my man.
USC?
Michigan Spartans.
Michigan Spartans. Okay, that's all right. I'll take that.
I coached a kid from the Pee Wee level all the way up to high school and went to the Spartans. My city where I grew up was big, man. We had a lot of kids go to D1 schools out of my football. Well, where I went to high school at. I decided to stop playing football my freshman year, and I picked up a habit called smoking and hanging out with a bad crowd. So I kind of blew that shot, and that went out the window. And I settled for YouTube. Let's be honest.
All right, guys. So hey, I really appreciate the time, Lovey.
No problem, man.
Yeah, Mike. When's your next trip? What do you got coming up next?
We got around the same time as you guys, the Booze Cruise. We're going on the non-group group cruise on the Celebration. which I heard Josh during your live last night. You're like, it's not a pretty ship. It's kind of ugly. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Difference of opinions, bro.
It's
He was
our
on
first
an
time on
MSC
an
ship.
XL class ship. We've not
Inside,
been
it may be
ship.
beautiful. On the outside, it looks like it's got herpes.
Heard you say last night it looked like it made it with Legos or something, but
yeah, it looks like a kid came in there and was like, "This is what a cruise ship looks like." And and it's right up beside the seascape, which is immaculate. It looks like a Lamborghini on the water.
I'm
yeah,
really excited on that non-group because there's a bunch of creators on there. Average size channels, anything from what you call small to even the biggest channels only probably got 6,000 or 8,000 subscribers. So a lot of like Nautical Nurse Nancy, Q's Cruisers, Josh and Michelle with Adventures Ahead. We cruised with them before. Mike and Betsy from Beach Please, which I know you've cruised with them before. Just
y'all
a
are
lot
gonna have
of
a great time, man.
a lot of channels like that. We're looking forward to meeting, and then we're also on Beach Please. We're doing a dual YouTube video on, I believe, Pig and Anchor. I gave you guys a tip.
The big bite. The big bite.
Pig and Anchor together. Yeah. Hashtag big bite.
Well, so here's the thing about the celebration, because I brought it up. We talked about it. Let's just dive in there, because I know people love their carnival. I love any cruise ship you're going to get on, but we all know I've drank the MSC Kool-Aid. I love it. But the reason that I felt the way I did about the celebration is we're pulling into port and I see that I'm like, wow, wait a minute, what ship is that? That's the Celebration. Ugh. Like that was my, now look, I've seen the inside of that ship. I want to go on it. I think it's going to be, it's probably a fantastic ship.
Oh, it's an awesome
They just didn't spend a lot of time on the outside of that thing.
It's an awesome ship. I love it.
Yeah.
And you know what they say, bro? Never judge a book by its cover, right? Like you don't judge the book by looking on the outside of the book. You open it up and you read the pages. I love the celebration. I've been on both the celebration and the Mardi Gras. I think the celebration is better than the Mardi Gras.
I've heard that too.
Outside of the ship ain't for me, man. I'm not sound on the outside of the ship, I'm on the inside of the bad boy. So
I'm with you, man. It just side by side, it was like,
and you're talking with somebody now that went on one of the biggest floating turds you could possibly go on, that Margaritaville at sea, man. But even then, that wasn't a bad shit, man. Outside might be a little rough, but the inside, they didn't do too bad of a job.
Yep.
No, we're looking forward to the in February. We're going on the Celebrity for our first time. So
nice.
We've always cruised Carnival, and that was because Anthony was a creature of habit, and he got used to Camp Ocean, and now he's a little older. He can stay in the room by himself while Mom and Dad go out and have a few drinks or go to the casino or whatever we're going to do. So we are going to go in February, just me and Michelle, on the Celebrity Reflection, I believe is the name of it. And then we're looking at next April during spring break to possibly go on Harmony of the Seas out of Texas, I believe. I believe that's where it's going.
You'll enjoy it.
I'm telling you, man, do MSC, Lovey. Y'all will enjoy MSC.
I can't ever figure out MSC what the price is.
Especially being such a big channel around the food and the big bite and all that. MSC is a great option because you have so many different options of food, from
Ola all
North
day long,
American
baby.
cuisine to European cuisine to Olo Tacos and Cantina, phenomenal Mexican food. Sushi's phenomenal. So there's great things to have on MSC. Their pizza, hands down, to me, is one of the best pizzas you can get on the sea.
Okay.
So if you give me a Carnival pizza and you give me MSC, I'm taking MSC all day over Carnival pizza.
The other thing that blew me away is you hear people complaining about the service on MSC. I don't know. So from the top down, I think they've told these folks, like, you make sure everybody on that ship had a great time. Because like when you do thank somebody or whatever, I'm so glad you had a wonderful time. Like, and you feel it, so like on Carnival, you feel it from the cruise director. You feel it from the assistant cruise director. You feel like when they talk to you that you're the only person on the ship they're talking to. You know what I'm talking about on Carnival. And you do sometimes miss that on MSC. You miss it on Royal as well. But they do it with the workers, the cabin stewards, the waiters, the waitresses, the bartenders. I mean, you get personally invested in these folks, and I know it can happen on other cruise lines, but it feels like that happens more on MSC. I mean, do you feel the same way?
Oh, I feel the same way. So
Yeah.
my first cruise with MSC was October of last year. I was in an ocean suite, or not an ocean suite. I was in an ocean view. I was at the front of the ship. I was in one of the big family. It was me. There was literally enough beds to sleep 5 people in this one room. Paid like $330 for the whole cruise, included my drinks, included the gratuities, Wi-Fi, whatever it was.
Wow.
I went back in December, and after we set sail, I was in an inside cabin. I went down to the front desk and I was like, listen, I'm a travel agent. You know, I make videos on YouTube. They're like, oh yeah, we know who you are. We follow you. And the guy literally showed me on his phone, like MSC Cruises follows me on Instagram. So I was like, I would just like to be able to see a balcony stateroom if possible so I can film it, just make a different video. I'm in the inside. I got the ocean view, get me the balcony, another thing. Calls me up later that night. He's like, are your bags packed? I was like, no, why? He's like, pack them. I got you a balcony cabin. Moved me from the inside to a balcony cabin.
Oh, wow.
Didn't
That's
just
cool.
let me see the balcony. They put me in the balcony.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So MSC definitely looks you out, man. There's a lot of good things with MSC. Service is great. Now, I'm not saying my 100% of my experience was awesome. I went to the steakhouse and had a horrible meal, but that, you know, I mean, you have bad experiences with certain things on every cruise line. It's not always going to be 100% perfect.
No.
I'm telling you, I went on Carnival inaugural sailing on the Celebration. I had pepperoni the size of German bologna on my pizza. So
But you're not going to get that every time.
You know,
Yeah.
you're going to have some hiccups. You're going to have some issues, depending on the voyage, depending on the ship, the age of the ship, you know, new crew, things happen. And a lot of people seem to forget because they compare cruising to what it was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, cruising pre-pandemic no longer exists.
Nope.
That type of cruising is long gone. It's now cruising post-pandemic where things are completely different. Some things change. Do I feel every cruise line should nickel and dime you for everything? Not at all. I don't think you should nickel and dime for every single possible thing.
And MSC does some of that.
But there are some things you need to be nickel and dime for. Some things do ultimately cost a lot of money. And without paying for it, how is it going to be paid for? So I think MSC is going to be one of the top competitors, especially in the North America market. Once they start moving over to the West Coast and Galveston, you know, I think they're going to be right there competing with.
So we got to say something. We got to say something good about Carnival too, though, right? So
Carnival's the fun shit, man.
I forgot to say this last night. I meant to get to it, but we sent our press kit in to Carnival. So finally got it together, and I figured out who I'm supposed to send these things to. Props to Brian with How We Cruise for turning me on to this when we met in New Jersey. But we sent our press kit into Carnival. We told them we're getting ready to go on the booze cruise and, you know, what ship we're going to be on, all this stuff. And the lady gets back to me. She's like, oh, fantastic. We already follow you guys. Thank you guys for what you do. We understand that, you know, this is a big part of how we market. And she's like, when you get there, there'll be a voucher in your room for premium internet free of charge. So, you know, and they don't have to do that. And that's pretty awesome. So we appreciate
and that's
that.
the thing, man. They don't have to do anything like that. Like
No.
when they do that, that gives you that little bit of incentive. And that's not like buying my opinion, right? Like I'm still going to give you my honest opinion 100% throughout the whole thing. I've sailed over 46 cruises now. Majority of those cruises that I've been on have been through the Carnival Corporation. They've been on Carnival and they've been on Princess. So I've been on the up class of Carnival and I've been at the Frugal Friendly with Carnival. And I can tell you right now, I've had more fun on Carnival than I've had on Princess. It just depends on what you're going.
Carnival's a blast, man. Carnival's a blast. I mean, let's not get it twisted. We're gonna have a blast next month.
I love it. And I know y'all don't care as much about the cruise directors as some people do, like me. But I'm telling y'all, I'm excited for the Jubilee to be on there with Kendall Fire. Like I am so stoked to be on a brand new cruise ship sailing out of Texas, this girl's home state, first female cruise director with Carnival to sail out on a brand new ship by a company that's ran by a female. Man, listen, I'm stoked. And y'all can judge all you want. I know Mike's shooting those laser beams through the screen down bottom because he's not a big cruise director person, but I love it, man. I like getting the chit chat. I might not do interviews and things like that, but just getting the chit chat with that cruise director a little bit and get a little perspective on the behind the scenes type things. It's nice to get to know him a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a cruise director person. I just don't. I just,
It's not why you're there. I get it.
yeah, I'm not there to be. I'm not there to be entertained by them. I don't. It don't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate what they do, and they look like they
cruise better.
Huh?
A good cruise director makes your cruise better.
He
Like,
ain't
can
gonna
you
help
at
me
least
at my
agree to
casino.
that?
He ain't gonna help me win no more money at the casino. I
No,
don't care.
no. But can you at least
He
agree
ain't gonna
that
make my food. He's not gonna make my food better.
He's not going to make your
casino any
beans
better.
not be hard.
I don't care about 80s night. I don't care about.
listen. Let's say you get the worst cruise director possible that comes into your cabin 2:00 in the afternoon. Boom, we're arriving at port in 2 minutes. Man, make sure you're getting down at the deck 3 to disembark. Deck 2, yeah, one of those decks. Just figure it out. And then you get that cruise director like Cookie or Lee Mason. Bing,
Yeah.
bong, bong. Good day, mates. It's Lee Mason, your cruise director. We're getting ready to dock, and we're getting off of deck 2. Are y'all listen? The energy.
Shut up!
Bring it different.
Bye-bye.
Shut up, boy.
And I
That's
can
what
see
our
right
that's what
now,
our cruise director on the Seascape every time he's like, and make sure you stop by blah 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 blah. Bye-bye. I'm like, oh,
I can
Stop
see
it.
Mike now when it goes bing, bing, bing. Are you kidding me? You were just in here 5 minutes ago.
I'm like, turn that shit down, man. I don't care. You told me to get the Hub app. I got the Hub app. It tells me. Now, let me just say this. Coming out of South Carolina and Charleston, they have to do the silent debarkation. So I don't need a cruise director to come over top and tell me what I need to do because I can watch it on the screen.
here's what's going on in Lovey's head.
I'm cussing. Yeah. I'm like, shut up. Hey, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I know a lot of people love them. A lot of people book their cruises because of the cruise director. It's just for me and my family.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's one
Just-
dude, I think his name was Simon. I'll probably not book a cruise if he's the cruise director because he was annoying.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. But I've not booked a cruise to be with a specific cruise director.
Well,
Now,
you just said the Jubilee, and you can't wait to be.
I'm excited. I was booking the Jubilee regardless. I was booked on the Jubilee before the cruise director was
Hey,
announced.
speaking of the Jubilee, man. Speaking of the Jubilee, do y'all have Roku?
Yeah, do you see it pop
The
up?
Jubilee's floating across on the
Floating
Roku
right across the
screensaver.
Roku on the screensaver.
Yeah, it's because you started talking about Carnival, right?
That's right. That's right.
Listen, look, here it is right here. If I get up, I'll show
See?
you. My house is messy.
Hey, so Derek,
Have
Derek,
y'all not seen it? Let me see if I can get over there real quick.
so
Yeah, I saw
Derek's in the
somebody
chat,
did a
and,
report on
and
that
unfortunately,
video
we don't
on
talk
it.
we don't talk in the chat because this is a podcast. But if you'll go over and listen to our live stream that we had last night, I'll describe some of it. And also, here's my shameless plug. Next Tuesday at 7:00, we'll be going live with the Moonlight Adventures, and we'll talk all about MSC one more time, Derek. But yeah, we love it. We love it. That's cool, isn't it? I like the Jubilee being on there. That's just an awesome little thing. So yeah, Derek, like, subscribe, hit the alert bell. Come on over, check us out. Same thing with all these three guys here.
Here's
amazing
my
creators.
shameless plug. We need to talk after this because I need to know how to send out my creator pack to Carnival because I ain't done that yet either.
Hey, I can hook you up. I can send
I
you a
appreciate
template.
what you said, though, Mike, because I have seen some people in the cruising community that have things given to them on cruises, and they won't say anything bad about what they. To me, on a YouTube channel, if you're going to give your opinion on the food, you're going to give your opinion on the room and all that kind of stuff, you have to give your honest opinion. And if you're not giving your honest opinion and you're being supported by that cruise ship to give you a free room or whatever it is, then to me, when you start your vlog, you need to say up front, this thing was comped to me. This was given to me. I watched a video one time by one channel that's pretty large. And the whole video was about them getting a free meal somewhere, but they didn't say it was free meal. And then at the very end of it, they said they enjoyed it. And then after they said they enjoyed it, they said,
It was
"Oh
a
yeah,
free
by the
meal.
way, the meal was given to me free."
Like, here's the perfect thing, right? Like, again, we're talking about being genuine people, genuine, honest answers. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat something. If you want something sweet, go to the bakery because you're not going to get it here.
Right.
I am here to give you factual information. I am here to give you my honest opinion on how I think it went and how the food was to me. And if you've watched my carnival celebration food vlog, you'll see me tell you flat out, I enjoyed this. The Mississippi mud pie, yeah, that's not for me. That's garbage. It's trash. It's hot trash. It's not for me.
Food is all opinionated anyway. So that's
yeah.
probably something I need to put in my vlogs up front because I've had people get mad at me. I can't believe you said you did it.
Well, that's the thing with MSC, right? So if you like heavily processed food, if you like a bunch of fried food, so here's the difference, right? So you go on an MSC cruise, heavily Mediterranean, not a whole lot of carbs on the buffet. You can find it, but not a lot, except for breads. You'll find a lot of breads.
You'll find a lot of breads, but them pretzels they make
Fresh
every
produce,
day,
fresh produce. Like, I mean, it's amazing, right? But if that's not how you eat, you may find that unappealing. However, they've started trying to add some things for Americans. Now, flip side, you go to Carnival, right? And the same amount of low carb stuff they have on MSC, they have highly processed, carb friendly, sugary, greasy goodness on Carnival. And I think that's the problem. Like, you know, there's people that get on MSC, they want their carbs. Look, man, I'm a big boy. I've had my share of carbs in this life, but you know, I think that's what happens sometimes. So we lost Lovey because he may have had an internet issue.
Yeah, he said he'll pop back in if it does happen.
Yeah, he'll pop back
but
up.
That's the thing, right? So like you're gonna get garbage food on one cruise line, great food on another cruise line. It's all great food. It's depending on what you find that you like is what makes it great. There's going to be people that are going to complain about all the food on every single cruise line. You can't tell me there's not a single person that hasn't sailed on the Regent's or a Viking cruise, one of the top class all-inclusive, paying $10,000 a person in a cabin, that hasn't had a bad meal. It happens. That's part of it. The difference is with MSC, a lot of their stuff is fresh. So the Americanized food we're so used to eating is not what we're getting.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're talking
about everybody to each their own,
mozzarella
right?
cheese every day and 30, 40 different other selections of cheese. It's
and to each their own, right? I mean, some people like Indian food, some people don't. Some people, you know, like barbecue, some people don't. If you don't like barbecue, then maybe you need to move somewhere that's communist. But that's bananas, bro, if you don't like barbecue. But hey, you know, I think that's a pretty good spot there, man. I don't want to keep everybody too long. Thank you guys, because the viewers are holding. I appreciate that. But please, please, please go like and subscribe to Lovey. Go like and subscribe to of course, to Mike Gormley and the Naughty Cruiser.
Can y'all still see me? Because I'm frozen on my screen.
I mean, I see your little thing there.
That's what I had to go back out and back in. I wonder if it's a I wonder if it's a StreamYard thing. I don't know.
It's, you know, because some of this is new to me with running this somewhat professional version and doing the LinkedIn thing. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, you know, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, Lovey is going to be on the non. A lot of stuff is going to come out of the non. A lot of creators on there. I know you guys are going to have a great time with Mike and Betsy. Fantastic people, fun to be on a cruise with. I can tell you firsthand. So yeah,
you guys look like y'all had a great time on the Royal Caribbean cruise ship. That's when I saw y'all's vlogs, both of yours and Betsy's, and I was like, we got to get on a Royal ship.
I'll tell you what, too. You know, we talk about genuine folks. One of the things you didn't see in our vlogs is Chastity's mom got some scary health news. And that day, like, we were doing the flow rider, we were doing zip lines and stuff. And Betsy, you could tell, really wanted to do those things. But what did Betsy do? Because Chastity didn't want to do anything that day. So Betsy says, hey, I don't really want to ride things today either. And, you know, she just pulled Chast aside and comforted her. And
that's awesome.
It just shows you the kind. I'm getting a little misty eyed talking about it, but fantastic individuals, fantastic people. We don't get on their lives near enough because they're on the West Coast, and 9 times out of 10, Chastity's having to drive me into work nowadays because of my health issues. But we try to watch the replay when we can because they are great. They're fantastic creators and good folks.
That's the
But-
thing about the cruising community, is there is a lot of, and earlier we kind of got, on this thing about the buying subs and all that, but that is a very, very, very minute, small percentage of the cruise community.
Mhm.
Most of the people out there, even if you got a channel or don't have a channel, are awesome, awesome people.
Yes.
And that's why we do our lives. We don't care if there's 20 people in there or 50 people in there. We do our lives so we can talk to people and have a good time. Yeah, Paul, unlike Paul.
I don't always throw them up there, man, but when they're good, I have
you
to.
gotta know Paul, yeah. But they're the people you meet on cruise ships that just people in general is awesome. And then when you find people that have seen your stuff and they come up and start talking to you, man, that makes you feel good. That especially when they come to you and say, I saw your ship tour, I saw your review on this, and it really helped me out.
Yeah,
that's what
amazing.
This whole thing's about, in my opinion, is brotherhood, getting to know people, helping people out. It's not about the 1 or 2%, or maybe even less than that, less than 1% that are buying subs out there. Yeah. It's about meeting people that you can you can lean on, or that people that will give you honest feedback. Like, we had, within a year and a half ago, we needed to step our game up, and we had another channel. I'll say who it is, Adventures Ahead. They said, man, Mike, your thumbnails suck.
Yeah. And that's good.
Did it hurt my feelings? Maybe a little bit, but they were being honest, and I appreciate that feedback. Yeah. But if people can give you feedback for your channel and make you a better channel and make your work, your creations better, then why not take that constructive feedback? And that's the thing about the cruising community. There's so many people like you two guys and other channels that are here to help each other. It's not about tearing each other down. It's about uplifting and promoting people the right way without promoting them with subs and stuff, is to give them ideas and tips to help them out.
So you brought something else up, and then Brian from How We Cruise says we love meeting people. So
listen,
I can't stop now. So now we're just going to keep pushing, right? So, all right, Lovey, again, you cry uncle, safe word. Whenever you have whatever your safe word is, bananas, pineapple, bananas, whatever it is, let me know. Pina colada. But so Brian is another one of these folks, right? So I go up there and I meet them. He takes me on an amazing tour of MetLife Stadium, takes me to TikTok Diner, introduces me to the pork roll, egg, and cheese, baby, with some disco fries on the side. Again, I ain't ate in like 50 hours. But man, and then I had a cheesecake with ricotta instead of cream cheese. Oh my Lord. So anyway, he did me right, New Jersey style, right? But then that night, because the next day I was going to go up to their home and meet with them there in the home, have dinner with them. And so Brian's like, hey man, what time you coming up? Blah, blah, blah. I got news that my youngest son, who's in the Marine Corps now, he had this knot under his arm, and they're like, it's a cyst. We think it's benign, but we don't know. We need to take a culture, what do they call that? A biopsy. So scared to death, right? Like, holy crap. My son, who's only 18 going on 19, like, he might have cancer. That's what you're thinking, right? So anyway, Brian's like, hey man, whatever you need, I got you. He's like, I can tell you're upset. He's like, if I need to come down, pick you up and drive you all the way down to Virginia tonight, that's what I'll do. And
listen, Brian's a genuine dude, man. I had the pleasure of meeting them on the Vloggers Extravaganza, and I wish I'd have met him when I lived in Jersey, because he could have helped me out a lot getting out of some trouble. Let me tell you what, I'd have been called Uncle Brian.
Well, and I don't want to talk about his career, because that's for him to talk about. But yeah, he's a good one to know when you're in Jersey. That's all.
He's a great dude, man. They're awesome. They're genuine people. Sit down and have a full-fledged conversation with you.
And we were up there, me and my son last August, we're up there, and we like horror movie stuff. So we went up to New Jersey and saw the original filming site of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I get a message on Messenger, and it's from Brian. He's like, man, you're literally 5 miles from my house. I can't believe, if I'd known that ahead of time, I would have met you guys and we could have went out to eat. And I generally, I did not know Brian that very well. And I knowing him now, I know he would have. He would have met us and said, hey, come to our house and eat. Let me take you out and show you around here. But that's really cool how it's a small world where you're
Oh yeah.
8 hours away from where I live, but it was like 5 minutes from his house. That was pretty cool.
Look, Brian says you were in my backyard. LOL. That was my backyard for 25 years too, man.
And I can't, I don't want to leave anybody out. And one other thing I'm going to say, and Chet and Robin Dodd, Sea Leg, great folks, genuine people. But the reason I'm bringing this up is we put out our son's mailing address when he was in Marine Corps Basic, and Chet didn't even tell us that he was doing this. So like, it wasn't about him, he sent letters to my son. And, like when we get done, he's like, this guy Chet said he knew you guys, and he sent me a letter, and he said he was a Marine. And it just blows me away, man, that,
Right.
people that have never met us other than through digital means can be that genuine, that friendly. I've got family who ain't said a damn word to my son since he graduated basic. But people on YouTube have donated money to him when he was moving from basic over to training, so he could have some money to play on.
You didn't even meet.
Yeah. What's that?
It's people that you don't even know.
Exactly.
People that you haven't even met.
Yeah, exactly. And it brings a tear to my eye every time. Meg, she's been there since day one. I don't know why. I have no idea why she puts up with us. She put up with Gunnar Wayne, but she's been there, right?
I don't know why her or Paul put up with any of us. Like they go in every day. For those of you who don't know, like seriously, let's speak for a second.
Hard
right?
workers, man.
Meg and Paul go in every single day and put out a schedule for every single creator, whether it's a premiere, a live, a video, something.
Amen.
They honestly do that out of the kindness of their hearts. They don't have to do that.
No.
They do that because they care. They want to help.
And listen to me right now. Shame on you. And some of these folks are banana buyers. If you give Paul a hard time because he messes up his YouTube TV guide, he don't do that shit for any money. He does it out of the goodness of his heart. So if you're going to give him a hard time, next time I see you face to face, you might get a punch in the nose, because that dude does it. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? For real. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to do that.
That's the thing about this is, is we're not getting paid to do this. I mean, Facebook's fun. Paul and Meg are doing it out of the genuine of the heart.
Because they love people.
Yeah, they love people. They enjoy people. And, we're supposed to go down to Atlanta in November, and I hope I get to meet Meg in person in November if her schedule and our schedule works out. But
and they have good content, guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they deserve to have.
I love her. The stuff of the aquarium she puts out.
Aquarium stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
like
different
people
vibe.
you've never
it's
met
more
before,
of a walking tour, but it's great. It's great stuff.
We had met Matt and Kimbra with Fantastic Cruising, and we went down to Tampa, and they gave us a tour of the aquarium there in Tampa. Next thing I know, we're back at Matt and Kimbra's apartment, and we're holding their snakes, and then we're going out to eat with them. And you're like, they're just opening up their house to you, I mean, just good people.
That's it, man. And that's the way it is. Like, and it's not done for any other reason than just genuine because.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to take Meg. You got to take Lovey out to Fox Brothers. You got to get him. Now, this is how you know that a barbecue joint is authentic. If there's a risk of them running out of barbecue, they're doing it right, because that means they ain't freezing it, they ain't refrigerating it. They're getting up in the morning and they're doing the stuff right.
Got them pits going all night long, man.
Exactly. The other thing, where was I going with this? So obviously they have good content. Blah 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 blah. Shoot, I don't know. Lost my train of thought here, but anyway,
they're just great people. So make sure when y'all see Meg and Paul post stuff,
exactly,
be appreciative, because it doesn't even happen.
Exactly. And throw them some subscribers. If you don't watch Paul's This Week in History, if you don't watch Paul's PSV Pub, where he does his drink of the week, all of that's great, man. Like, and it's not like some dude that's sitting here with this big production. It's him in his house making a drink that somebody recommended to him, the way that any of us would make a drink in our home.
Yep.
It's fantastic. It's great stuff. They deserve more views. They deserve more subs. they deserve to be monetized so they can get a little bit of a feedback or a little bit of a touch back on what they do for this community.
And I got to shout out because it's one trucker to another trucker. So y'all get over there and y'all take care of business.
That's right, man. That's right. But hey, so hopefully, this sheds some light. And this is what this is all about. If you're new here to peer, I think we know a little bit more about Mr. Lovelace. So I've known you this long. I have a friend. He's a Lovelace, but he says Loveless. Are you Loveless or are you Lovelace?
Well, to Josh Holstead and the Northerners, they call me Loveless, but to the people in the South, they call me Lovelace. No, I'm just messing.
Right.
We pronounce it. My family pronounces it Lovelace. Yeah, just like you love and lace.
All right. Yeah, them Alabama people, man, they're just backwards.
There ain't nothing wrong with loving some lace.
Yeah,
Throw a little cook in there, we'd be all right.
Hey, so we are definitely going to have Lovey on again. Our next, and we appreciate you so much, Lovey. Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you for what you do for the community and the support you give. You're one of the ones we draft off of, and you come in and you do peer-to-peer for us, and we appreciate that. We greatly
appreciate it, man. And anytime I can help you guys out or anybody in the chat, if you got a channel, if you don't have a channel, that's, we started out with our lives, having other channels on. We kind of got away for that from a while, but we want to go back to the roots of this and trying to bring channels on that either haven't hit 1,000 yet and trying to do it the right way. We want to bring them on and give some exposure to them. So, hey, reach out to me, Facebook Messenger, we'll bring you on. And just know I'm going to check your channel out first. I've already said that ahead of time, but if you want to do it right, we'll help you out. And we want to try at least do that a couple times a month.
And the same thing with peer-to-peer. If you have interest in coming on the peer-to-peer Travel Chats podcast, shoot me an email at moonlightadventures757@gmail.com. Tony at Lolita Loca, or Jenny, if you want to walk across the street and go let Big Mike know, we'll take you. I know you guys need some help. I know that you guys need some more marketing. This is the perfect opportunity for you. Come on over.
They may need that peer-to-peer travel rub. You just never know.
That's right. They may need that rub because they may have too many subscribers.
They rub about half of them this way, right?
That's right. But yeah, so please, if you're interested, shoot me that email. We are going to check you out because just like Lovey says, but let me tell you something else. Some of these banana folks, we might have them on. We may have them on. I want to hear their success stories. That's what I want to hear. So we'll leave that alone. But yeah, thank you so much, Lovey. And he has a non coming up. What do you have coming up for your channel that's on the horizon here?
Well, we got one last video on the Sunshine, which everybody jokes about that. I think we're about to hit 80 videos on 3 cruises on that. And then we're going to do the celebration. I'm thinking I can get 20 to 30 videos out of that one in 7 days.
I'm so done, bro.
And hey, that's just, that's our method of operation. A lot of people, ask, how do you get so many vlogs out of it? I'm a big fan of less than 10 minutes of vlog. So if I can get it around 6, 7, 8 minutes, I always say you vlog with a purpose. So I video the beginning of us eating, then I set the phone down and we eat the rest of the meal and we leave.
There you go.
If I'm eating 21 times on that ship, there's going to be 21 vlogs on that ship.
and 20 of them are going to be complaining about hard beans.
It's going to be complaining about hard beans and nasty barbecue, and and the rest of it's probably not that bad. The MDR has shocked me recently with Carnival. It's been better than I thought. Better than it has been in years, I thought.
Can I expect a good MDR steak on the Glory, or am I still going to be eating the bottom of a shoe?
Please don't eat a steak in the MDR.
Now
Paul Vines likes it, but
Paul's from Arkansas. They don't know how to cook good meat down there, man. All their good meat cooks went west to Texas.
I'm not going to suggest eating the steak at the MDR, but if you want to grow, well, we are going 555. You'll
5 cube, baby, 5 cube, 5 cube.
You'll have
surf there.
So before we let you go, Lovey, if we're going to turn this into a podcast, and this will be out on Spotify. If you had to give a brand new YouTube channel a creator one word of advice right now before they push
I
that
like it.
button for their
Yeah.
channel to start, what would your word of advice for them be?
I would say stay true to yourself, stay true to your niche, and be consistent. I would say if you need, you know, 1 to 2 videos a week, the same days a week, your thumbnail is critical. I didn't learn that for a long time. Your
TNT,
audio is
TNT.
critical. You can do anything you want to with this right here.
Yep.
That's all you need. You don't. I've bought M50s. I bought Canon T Rebels, and this, that, and the other, and everybody thinks they have to have the neatest and greatest and newest thing, which I'm that guy too, because I got them all sitting right over here. But really now it goes down to a GoPro and this, and just get used to being comfortable with it. It's a lot easier videoing with this than it is a big, especially starting out at first.
Yes.
Everybody's taking pictures with a phone, and just be consistent at it. Be true to yourself. Don't try to copy other people. Just do what makes you you. You know, just be yourself.
Exactly.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer.
Yeah. So hey, we're gonna boot you out, but we
We're gonna
appreciate
boot
you.
out, man, but we definitely
And we're gonna
bring it
have you back,
man.
but we got to talk about what's coming up in our next.
All right. See y'all guys
podcast.
later.
Thanks, Lovey. All right, let me straighten this thing out where it looks better. Shoot. Boom, boom. That's better. So anyway, hey, Lovey is great. He's fantastic. We've watched them since like the beginning. And you know, great channel, great people. But let's talk about who's coming on next. So I'm sorry I don't have the date right offhand, but our next guest is Travel Adventures with Eric B. This dude, he goes all over the place. He's a Europe traveler. He's only been on one cruise.
He got back from Germany, right?
Exactly. He's been to Prague. He's been to crazy places. I can't wait to have him on and talk to him. He's a Miami Dolphins fan. Just so you know, Mike, he is a Miami Dolphins fan.
Listen,
he loves him some
if
Tua.
Miami keeps putting up 70 points a game, I think there's going to be a lot of people going to be Miami Dolphins fans this year.
If you can block for Tua, that dude does amazing stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can't block for him, he's going to be hurt.
Yeah, just like last year.
But yeah, so be on the lookout. Eric B's coming up next. You know, I hooked a big fish that I've got to get on here. I've got a dude. He doesn't have a big presence on YouTube, but on Instagram, he's up there. Former veteran. I'm not going to say his name until we get him booked. But we've got some cool stuff coming. I've got a feeler out for some big Disney folks.
Yeah, I got a feeler out for some big channels too. So we're we're working busy at the moment, so they'll be home soon. So hopefully I'll get an answer here over the next couple of days. They are pretty busy at the end of the month, just like us, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to happen. It just means got to make it work on their schedule, and I am A-okay with that.
Yeah. So, hey, man, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mike, again, for putting up with me and my noise. And, you know, you're the perfect yin to my yang. I don't know. Maybe we're both yangs. I don't know.
Either way, yin-yang, ding-a-dang, ding-a-ling, ding-dong, whatever you want it to be.
My ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling. Paul knows that song.
Once I was swimming across Turtle Creek. Man, them snappers all around my feet. Listen, boy, I may only be 34, but I got that old soul deep inside.
All right, guys, we are out.
Welcome to the Peer-to-Peer Travel Chats podcast with your host, Josh of the Moonlight Adventures, and Mike, the Naughty Cruiser.